Well, hello and welcome everybody to our keynote session with you in studio today. My name is Christian Buettner. I'm working with KALDEWEI and I'm responsible for innovation and portfolio. I have two guests here in the call, Filippo and William, who will introduce themselves now. Thanks.
Hi, my name is FILIPPO Lodi and I'm UN Studio's head of innovation.
Hi, and my name is William De Boer, and I'm a product designer and associate at UN Studio.
We will get to know some work samples from you in studio, and our topic today is circularity and the future of housing. Okay.
So as I think I've been working together quite a few times, and that's us collaborating a couple of years ago on kind of new ideas. We are presenting ourselves and introducing the kind of things that we do. Myself and William are leading a team called UNS Experience, which is an innovation think and do tank that encapsulates the values of human centricity and planet centricity. In the way we work, we harvest knowledge from the different practices that we put together in our multidisciplinary team, product design, engineering, architecture, design thinking, creative strategists, and many more kind of nuances that our team brings to the table. We think in terms of hybrids, where the manimal here is a manifestation of that, where we cannot only refer to a table, but our sofa, we combine it together into a sit table, and William will show it later on. And we work in a way that we think in terms of experiences, where experiences are a way to combine different disciplines together and work across those disciplines and combine them into real experiences. On the other hand, the approach that we do is multiscalar and allows us to kind of see through the shared human experiences throughout the different scales, so from product to urban, by identifying what are the systems that connect them. So it's a lot about system thinking, and it's about identifying the complexity that is into that and unraveling that complexity into new ideas and new concepts for the built environment.
Yeah, I think just last week, one of our brightest minds that we have here in our present, Bill Gates, just released his book, How to Avoid the Climate Disaster. And I think one aspect that he is working on and writing about is that we have to do much more than just look at CO2 emissions that we produce by transport and things that are very obvious. So we need more innovation in building, because the building sector really accounts for almost 40% of CO2 emissions globally. And with the rising population, and I think we will build the equivalent of New York City every month new. And there needs to be a new approach to how we build things, and from the product to the building. So how does this idea of circularity really fit to UN Studio's approach?
I think it's very much true that there is a lot of impact in terms of CO2 in the world of construction. Circularity is a central theme now to all European countries and in the way we have to build for our future. And we know that some of, let's say, methodologies that pertain circularity and sustainability at large reflect into many of our projects. One in particular is that of Wasl Tower, which is completely whose facade is completely made in ceramics. Ceramics being a very interesting circular materials because of its composition, its fabrication, but also the possibility to kind of be completely recycled into new ceramics. And the approach to this particular building has been to create a facade that breathes, in effect. That was, I think, the metaphor we used to describe the way that the facade of the Wesel Tower works. And we identified a lot of the components that these particular elements would be. And we really developed, together with the manufacturing, a system that can be built for disassembly, so that can be removed and dismantled into parts. So each component is therefore changeable, dismantleable, and part of a larger ecosystem that connects this facade to the world of circularity.
Yeah, we do have some, even in the interior, we do have our sanitary products in use at the Al Wasl Tower there in Dubai, in the project of the Mandarin Oriental Hotel. So I think even there, the idea of circularity is pursued. One aspect that I think we always stress is also that the usage of energy and the production of, or with creating the product, the emission of CO2 with steel enamel is really much lower than it would be with mineral composites and other acrylics or plastic-based bathroom fixtures. So how do you go about the life cycle assessment of the materials that you use, and how do you apply this to your work, the thinking?
So we develop materials, or our knowledge of materials, in different ways. One of the ways is that we are actively working on European-funded research projects, such as the Osiris project, in which we developed, together with a series of partners, a biocomposite material. This biocomposite is a very simple technical material that has been developed for external and internal partition, so it can be used in both ways. And the whole life cycle of the material in itself has been developed in an holistic manner to really look at the production, both at the production, at the use of the material, at the way the material would be applied to building or other type of construction, and being therefore dismantled. We have tested that with the consortia involved into this project into a series of demo cases. The images here are of a demo case in Tartu, Finland, where the material had been used for external and internal use in different composition with different type of detailing to kind of validate the technology and its applications to the market. Another way that we have been looking into the development of that has been working with manufacturing companies such as yourself, where we look together at the development of a specific material, and in this case is with a Swiss company called Monopol, that we developed a paint, a coating, which is called the Coolest White, and aims to reflect on two things: on the scalability of the materials, but also the production of this specific coating, which has two qualities. One, it is the whitest white coating on the market, and two, it has the highest total solar reflectance. So it allows for the heat to be reflected more than any other coating on the market, let's say contributing to lowering down the heat island effect in cities, and therefore creating a more kind of sustainable overall effect to the use of materials in the market. And that this specific material had two outputs so far. One is kind of an art application where it has been part of a kind of installations or applications where that is a flag for used as a as a flagship for the climate change or the kind of diversity that we need into that, and the other one is the application into some of our buildings that go directly hand in hand with the construction side. And the third way of thinking about material is to really work through the project themselves in creating solutions that are more looking at the whole range of materials that are applied to buildings in a 360 ways, and that allow for that a paradigm of circularity to be taken over into the process of the whole constructions. So, and that really is a very 360 degrees. So where we look at all the elements, all the components of the architecture at large to define that.
Well, I think what's really interesting is to learn that you're not only thinking about the actual production materials or construction materials, but also the life cycle and the usage. And there are also ways that you presented that, reduce emissions and energy use throughout the life cycle. And yeah, there are multiple uses for architecture. I think that's very interesting to learn. But scaling down to our world at KALDEWEI, we are not building buildings or designing large urban areas, but products. And I think this is also a specialty of you in studio, that you not only have great material experiences and research projects, but also product design projects. William, what examples do you have there for us?
Yeah, it's good question. I think what is very interesting in the field that we are playing in is the scalability of things. So from the large scale to the small scale, as you are mentioning. And what for us is important is, we are always looking for companies that, let's say they're companies that look really at the materials that they are using. Materials actually from the beginning of the process, that they look very closely to materials that are renewable, that are recyclable. This is a good example, for example, with Alessi, where we developed tableware for kids, where the material that is being used is a combination of bamboo and melamine, and is it's also in the, let's say, we created a collection of kids furniture and tableware. And the other product we developed is the Doraf. It's a dog and it's a giraffe, and so we made it into a Doraf. We also really like to play with names, but what was very interesting with this one is also that the materials is fully 100% recyclable. So it's a recycled material and it can be recycled again. So when we work with companies like KALDEWEI, I think you're a very good example, is what materials are you looking at from the beginning of the process of development? And that's an essential, it's an essential step to make. The other thing that we do is we design, if we design in a sustainable way, like Filippo mentioned before, we design hybrid products, meaning products that are being used in different ways. So an example is the sit table. Sit table is not a table that you can only sit around, but you can also sit inside. The table was developed to be able to create a place for private working, but also to have a meeting with multiple people. And the interesting thing we always mention with this is that actually it's quite a sustainable product, because also the companies that buy this product, they bring it to their next location. So if they move their office, they bring the product with them. And I think that is a very important value of a product as well, that it's not it's a long-lasting product. So and how we do that is that we design with the research and knowledge from the beginning. So we really try to solve the real challenges that are there, and not just designing another product. One of the last things maybe it's interesting to mention is a product we developed with Offect. The product is called Studio, and it's tete-a-tete seating. This was developed with a minimal amount of material, which is a very thin bent wood sheet with a fabric around it that is not glued, with a tubular frame that is connected to it. It's very easy to disassemble. And what we see more and more happening now, which is interesting, is that companies take the products and they kind of resell it. And they do that by reupholstering the products, or they reusing the products. And I think that is another interesting step in the circular design that we should really kind of integrate into the process when we design products.
Right. I mean, sometimes we have also our 30 years warranty that we give to our products. We think they last too long for our liking, but and yeah, you shared some really interesting insights to your product development and product design projects. Unfortunately, we cannot share the one that we're working on with KALDEWEI and you're in studio together right just now, but stay tuned in this channel. You will see later on. One last aspect I want to talk about with you is really how the global pandemic and all the restrictions that we see even ongoing change the way we think about our homes, our personal bathroom experiences. The spa becomes more private. There's the cocooning trends. How does that fit to the sustainable ideas? Because a couple of years ago, sustainability was more about sharing economy, and now we are more, coming back to our privacy and don't want to share anymore so much. So how does that fit? Maybe as a closing and trend or outlook statement.
The opportunity of the pandemic has been that of that we could reevaluate a lot of the basic assumptions that we have on our kind of living flow. So the way we work is changing, and therefore the way we live also adapts into that change. And the ownership for of your own home and your own spaces allows a lot of us to rethink about the use of the rooms. So much as the kitchen has been very much changing itself, where the island, for example, has taken a crucial part in redeveloping what the kitchen is, because it's about social, it's about interaction, it's about reusing that space in a way that allows for a different communication, rather than having a separate kitchen where the cooking is made separately. So similarly, the world of the bathroom now has a specific way of asking itself, how can I respond to the needs of relaxation, of spa, that I cannot, I do not want to share, but how can I bring those qualities into my own bathroom and rechange then what the definition of the bathroom is, where the size of it and the use of it and the elements that are part of it are reevaluating what this space in the house is and its value and into the house ecosystem, as we mentioned.
Well, thank you so much. I think we will see more with our collaboration, and thank you everybody for joining us in this keynote by UN Studio, FILIPPO Lodi and WILLIAM de Boer, and bye-bye.
Thank you.
So
Bye-bye.
Bye.